All right, let's talk about something every project manager runs into: conflict. Yeah, it's just part of the job, right? But what if you could actually use those disagreements to your advantage? Today, we're going to build out your conflict resolution toolkit. The goal? To stop being just a referee and start being a real problem solver. So let's jump right in.
So let me ask you something straight up. Is conflict at work always a bad thing? I mean, your first instinct is probably to say yes, of course. We're kind of programmed to avoid it, right? But here's the thing. In the world of project management today, that's a seriously old-school way to look at it.
Okay, check this out. This really shows the massive shift in thinking. The old way? It saw conflict as a total failure, something for the big boss to come in and just stamp out. But the new view, and this is where we're living, sees it as totally inevitable. It's just what happens when you have a bunch of smart, passionate people working together. And here's the kicker. The power to solve it moves from the manager down to the people actually involved. You, the project manager, become more of a guide, a facilitator, not some judge in a black robe. And this isn't just a nice idea. It's straight from the PMBOK guide itself. Think about it. When you manage it right, conflict stops being a roadblock and starts being an engine for new ideas. It's like it forces everyone to look at a problem from different angles, and that almost always leads to smarter, more creative decisions. So the goal isn't to get rid of conflict. That's impossible. The goal is to channel it, to manage it, so it actually helps you.
So how do we actually do that? Well, you need the right tools for the job. We're about to dive into 5 key techniques for handling conflict. Seriously, think of this as your go-to toolkit for those tricky situations.
All right, tool number 1. This is pretty much the gold standard: collaborating, or what we also call problem solving. Now, this isn't about slapping on a Band-Aid. No way. This is about really digging in, getting everyone's perspective out in the open, and finding a solution that tackles the real root of the issue.
And what's the end game here? A true win-win. We're not just looking for an answer. We're looking for an answer that everyone, and I mean everyone, is fully on board with because they had a hand in creating it. Look, this one takes time and it takes trust, for sure. But the payoff? Huge, both for morale and for the project itself.
Okay, next up in the toolkit, compromise or reconcile. Now be careful here, because it sounds a lot like collaborating, but it's really different. With a compromise, everybody walks away with something they wanted, but nobody gets everything they wanted. It's all about finding that middle ground where everybody has to give something up.
And that's why, believe it or not, this is often called a lose-lose situation. Yep, you heard that right. Each side has to give away a piece of what they wanted. It's a practical move, for when that perfect win-win just isn't in the cards. It's useful, but it's definitely not the ideal we were just talking about with collaboration.
Tool number 3 is smoothing, also known as accommodating. And this one is super strategic. Don't think of this as just giving in. It's a calculated choice. You're deciding that the relationship and the team harmony are actually more important than winning the specific argument. So you focus on what you do agree on and let the other person have their way on this one.
Yeah, the whole point here is to maintain harmony. You're playing the long game. Maybe you're building up some goodwill for later, or you just realize, you know what, this means way more to them than it does to me. You're essentially saving your energy and your political capital for the fights that really matter down the road.
And then we have forcing, or directing. Okay, I know this one sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it? It's basically the my way or the highway approach. It's top-down, assertive, and one person's view wins out at the expense of others. It creates a clear win-lose. And while it might sound like a terrible way to manage people, trust me, there are times when it's absolutely necessary.
When do you use it? When a decision is both urgent and critical. We're talking emergencies, a serious health and safety problem on site. This is not the time to form a committee or debate the options. You need a fast, decisive call, and that's exactly what this tool is for.
Last but not least, we have withdrawing or avoiding. Now again, this isn't about being scared of conflict. It's a strategic retreat. Maybe the issue is so minor it's just not worth the fight. Or, and this is a big one, maybe emotions are running so hot that there's no way you're going to have a productive talk right now. The key here is you're hitting the pause button, letting things cool down so you can deal with it later when people are calmer.
Okay, so there they are, 5 tools in your toolkit. Now comes the real skill: knowing which one to pull out and when. Because the secret to all of this, it's all about the context.
So before you do anything, you got to take a step back and size up the situation. Ask yourself these questions. 1, how much time do we have? If the answer is none, you might need to use force. 2, how important is this relationship long-term?
If it's crucial, you're probably looking at collaborating or smoothing. 3. Who holds the power here? And 4. Just how big of a deal is this really? Thinking through these things is what makes you a strategist, not just someone reacting in the moment.
All right, let's connect the dots. This next part is a super practical guide for when to use each of these tools.
Think of this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. Seriously, if you've got a complex problem and plenty of time, you collaborate for that win-win. Got two people with equal power who are just deadlocked? Compromise is probably your best bet for a quick fix. If the issue isn't a big deal to you, but you want to build some goodwill, that's a perfect time to smooth. And like we said, for those 5-alarm fire emergencies, you have to force a decision. See? This is how you move from just having tools to knowing exactly which one to use.
Okay, pop quiz time. Picture this. You're on site and you see a massive safety violation. Work has to stop, like, right now. But the site foreman is arguing with you, saying it'll kill the schedule. What do? What's the move?
You use force. 100%. This isn't a negotiation. Time is critical, the stakes couldn't be higher, and safety is non-negotiable. You direct them to stop work, period. Yeah, it's a win-lose, the schedule takes a hit, but safety wins. And in that situation, that is the only outcome that matters.
Okay, so we've got the tools and the guide on when to use them. But underneath all of that, there are a few ground rules, some core principles that make any resolution a positive one.
No matter which tool you're using, these 4 things are absolutely key. Number 1, keep it respectful. You attack the problem, you never ever attack the person. Number 2, focus on what's happening now and where you're going, not on dredging up the past. Leave the old baggage behind. And finally, remember you're in this together. The goal is to find a path forward side by side. Get these right, and you're setting yourself up for success.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. The whole point of managing conflict isn't just to get people to stop arguing. It's not about just keeping the peace. It's about taking all that energy, all that passion from the disagreement, and using it to find an even better solution than you had before. It's how you build stronger teams and ultimately better projects.
So, I'll leave you with a question to chew on. What's your default setting? Come on, we all have one. Are you the person who always tries to collaborate? Or maybe you tend to avoid conflict? Now that you've seen the whole toolkit, take a hard look and ask yourself, is my go-to style really the best tool for every single situation I face?